Well, welcome to another monthly roundup. It feels like April's only just started, to be honest, and here I am telling you about all of the stuff that I've done in April. And I'm not even sure I feel like I've done an awful lot. I've got a few drawings to show you. I think some of them were completed in March, but I don't think I showed you last time. So I've got a few drawings to show you. One that was completed for myself and the others that were done as sort of like art club and tutorials for the membership. I've also got a ton of books, well, not a ton of books, I've got 4 books that I've bought this month and that are having like a major impact on my life, making me kind of really think about things and think about the business and all of that kind of stuff in a really good way. I love my books. I really love my books. I tend to buy the hard copy and the Audible copy because I've got an Audible account and I have sort of like credits that come through each month. So and I listen to the Audible ones in the car. And then I can use the hard copies to make either notes in or put stickies in and all of that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how I use my books. I like to have both because I find it really, really hard, unless I'm reading a novel, and I'm also reading novels. Gosh, what's she called? Lisa Jewell, I think it is. I'm reading the second one of hers. They're like thrillery type things. They're really, really good. So I can sit and I can read a novel, but when it comes to the sort of self-help books, I kind of tend to sort of dip in and out. And I find listening when I'm in the car, I can't do anything other than listen. Well, I can drift off and have daydreams and whatever. But you know, I can't do something else, if that makes sense. So I'm going to talk about those books as well. And yeah, it's been another busy month. We've done quite a lot of work in the background in our video hub for the membership. We've been working on that for a few months with the help of the team from Searchy. So I use a platform called Searchy to host all of my videos, and it's amazing. It kind of does what it says on the tin. You can search through all of the videos, so it's not just word content, text content you can search through, you can search through all of the videos as well. And we've also got like a little now don't freak out, everybody. Honestly, it's not that one. There's a little AI bot in there as well, but the AI bot, you can ask it a question, but it only pulls from my content, which is really, really amazing. So somebody can go into the video hub and say, how do I'm struggling with Pastel Mat, how do I get the graininess, how do I get rid of the graininess? And this little virtual me will come on and it will write you a whole list of the stuff that you can do to get rid of the graininess in Pastel Mat, taken from all of my video content. And there's thousands of hours of content in there. And it's really awesome. So that's an amazing new addition to the membership that's included. And we've got this beautiful, shiny, brand new hub, which is all personalized. It's all laid out beautifully. I've moved things into categories in the sort of looked at the, I don't want to say easiness or hardness of the tutorials, because my tutorials are kind of, they're all the same, but some are slightly more challenging than others. Some have got backgrounds, some of them are a more challenging subject. So we've kind of grouped them into these different categories, and we've gone with the Ignite theme. So we've got, instead of beginner, intermediate, advanced, which is just boring and doesn't really say what it is, we've gone with glimmer, spark and flame, which I think is really exciting. So we rolled that out the beginning of April, and I've had such good feedback from it. It's a much easier experience. The experience was good anyway, but it's an even better experience. It's all you know, you don't have everything all in one place. You can still have access to everything, but it just makes your homepage a little bit, you know, it's a little bit like, you know, when you have your personalized stuff on like Netflix or Prime or something like that. It's a little bit like that. So that's all really, really exciting. That's gone down really well. I was a guest speaker on Michelle from Your Art Matters. And United Art Space on her podcast, which was really exciting. We did like a live session. Absolutely love that. I love live sessions, isn't it? it's really peculiar. So I'm also guest speaking on a couple of summits coming up as well. And I would always prefer to go live rather than create something that's pre-recorded. I don't know, I find it much easier to just go, yep, just switch the, right, hello, and go live rather than actually pre-record something where it's sort of, you've got to get in your diary and you have to have it done. But one of them's pre-recorded, and I've got my script already written, and I'm really excited about this session. It's for Mim with her Planner Pro Summit, and I'm talking about goal setting. And I'm really excited about what I've written. I sat there last, I just had this kind of, I don't know, this creativity came over me, and I was like, I love writing. I absolutely love writing. And I'm just like writing. And I'm like, oh, we could do this and we could do this and we could talk about this. And when I write, particularly as a script for something, I write like I'm talking, you know, so that when I actually come to record it back, it sounds like it's, you know, like I'm kind of off the cuff speaking, kind of, but there aren't any ers and ums and all of that kind of stuff. It's very much, you know, what is it very much? Hopefully it doesn't sound like I'm just kind of reading off an auto cue, which I will be doing. But I'm getting better and better at that. So yeah, so it's been a fun April so far. I have completed, I've got a couple of commissions on. One of them's finished and it's at the framers. So just waiting for that to be mounted, the lovely Tilly. So I can't show you that because it's at the framers, but I'm sure you've seen it on my socials. I've got quite a few secret commissions coming up, and a couple of sort of secret-y projects as well, which I'm going to kind of try and not share. I'm going to get excited about it but not share it. I've got a big trip coming up in May. I'm off to San Francisco, which I'm very excited about. It's a mastermind business trip. Not for very long. I get there on the Sunday and I get back into the UK on the Friday, but very excited to be part of an amazing group of entrepreneurs who I'm hoping will kind of I'm hoping I'll absorb their greatness, basically. That's what I'm hoping. And what else? Yeah, it's just been sort of like just a steady away month, really. We've worked on my 24-25 marketing plan. There's something that we do, and we're very strict on doing, is having all of these plans not set in stone, because I kind of have ideas about stuff and get excited about them, and then I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. But having a plan for a year, and obviously we work sort of from April to April, it means that we really know what we're doing, and it means that we can you know, plan for things, and we can get the emails and everything out and all of that kind of stuff. So we've got a really busy year ahead. I've got my coloured pencil week coming up in May, which I'm really excited about. I'm busy working on the bonuses for those. Honestly, they look so good. Even though I say it myself, they look so good. Well, I'm saying it myself. I've written them. Amazing Lucy has sort of branded them and pulled them into alignment, and they look amazing. They look amazing. And I'm really, really excited about this, the week in May. It's the 20th to the 26th of May. Really, really excited about it, because it's a whole week of drawing, live streams, and you know, we've got a pop-up Facebook group, and it's just going to be really, really exciting. So my week's been cleared, and that's going to be my week is drawing live, which I'm really, really, really excited about. And I've got lots of people jumping onto the wait list already, which again, it is really excited. I love that people are kind of wanting to join me. So it's going to be amazing. And then I've got all sorts of different things in the pipelines again, which is really exciting. So yeah, I've been doing lots of drawings, and I've got the other thing that I've been doing as well, actually, is I bought a load of paper, a load of well, not just paper, a load of different surfaces. As you know, my favourite surface is Clairefontaine Pastel Mat. I literally do not think there is another surface out there that even touches the sides of what you can achieve with Pastel Mat. I think it's the most amazing surface. However, there have been some sort of quality issues in the past, and I know that people get quite frustrated. I think one of the things we have to remember is that there is a parameter within Pastel Mat's accepted quality, graininess, toothiness, if you like. There is a parameter in there because there is an element of handmade, artisan part of the process when Pastel Mat's made. And I know this because I've been kind of not working with, but I've been having meetings with the production and finance in Clairefontaine, just to try to work out how we can get the quality a little bit better. I'm not saying I'm having a massive influence on them. I don't think I am at all, but I have had Zoom calls with them and they've sent me samples to sort of see which, whether it's acceptable or not, because we know that there has been I think 1 or 2 batches that have been really poor. And for me, the best pastel mat for a coloured pencil artist is there's no different kinds of pastel mat, it's all the same, but the quality, the graininess of the pastel mat that for me works the best is it's the board, and it's when it's incredibly smooth. And of course the sad thing is, the frustrating thing is, you can't choose what you get. You order some and it comes and you get what you get. I've been looking at trying to find alternatives, and of course there isn't an alternative to Pastel Mat. There just isn't. It's a beautiful surface. It's velvety. When it's right, it's velvety. It takes layers. You can get light over dark, and it just is. It's the most wonderful surface to draw on. So it has been incredibly frustrating and sad for me, particularly because I recommend it and I do a lot of tutorials on it, and it has been quite frustrating. Anyway, hopefully we're kind of getting there with the quality, but I decided to try a few different surfaces, and I think the one that comes the most close to Pastel Mat is this stuff. Oops, that's just the back of it. Oh, it's back to front. It's Pastel Board, ampersand Pastel Board, board spelt B-O-R-D, and you can see it's a thick. There's no way that's bending. It's like a thick board. And I did a very quick 10-minute little cat eye on it. I don't know whether you can see that there. Works very similarly to Pastel Mat. The really nice thing is that you can actually use a bit of wet and dry sandpaper. So I've got some, this is 1000 grit sandpaper, and you can actually sand it, because it comes and it's relatively gritty. It's not like sandpaper, it's relatively gritty, and you can use a piece of this and you can sand it off and it becomes much smoother. The downside is it's very smudgy. I mean, it smudges really, really, really ridiculously easily. So it could be that actually you might need to fix it with like an acrylic spray or matte spray or something like that. Not just a fixative, but like a proper sealant. And I've still to kind of have a play around with that. The concept of drawing on it is very similar to Pastel Mat, in that, you put your layers in, all of that kind of thing, and you get some nice vibrancy and everything. It's not the same as Pastel Mat. It's not nearly as nice as Pastel Mat, and it's really expensive. So a little board like this, I think this is like I don't even know what this is actually. This is an 8 by 10. I think this was about £12 just for this one. Oops, one board. So it is quite expensive, but it does do the job. And from all of the papers and the surfaces I've used, it's the closest, so it's in between, but closer to Pastel Mat than sanded paper. If you've tried sanded paper, and I've tried some Luxe Archival as well, which is it's a super sanded paper. It's kind of an off-white colour, but it's sanded, and sanded paper has a very different feel and technique than Pastel Mat. It's almost like your pencils flood. I find it's harder to control the amount of pigment that comes out. With Pastel Mat, it's just kind of just right. With sanded paper, there's too much, and it feels more like pastel, just because of that, the tooth, I guess. So the Ampersand Pastel Board definitely has more of a feel to Pastel Mat, but it's still, it's not nearly as nice anyway. And then I've got some other surfaces to use as well. I've got some Rising Museum board. I've got some, what's the other thing that I bought? Oh, there's another board that I've bought, and some different papers as well, just to have a bit of a play on, to see if there's anything at all that I quite like using, and that I can maybe, recommend to others. But I'm fingers crossed they've sorted the Pastel Mat out. So I've got some pieces to share with you. I don't know whether I shared this one before, but this one I drew for myself. This was a challenge piece for me. This is on Pastel Mat board. Is on a super smooth piece, which I absolutely love Pastel Mat when it's like this. And I've got a few pieces of this amazing smooth stuff left. So this was a piece that I did purely for me. You can see it's on like a quarter sheet of Pastel Mat there. This was just done with mostly polychromos. I loved it because of the lighting, because it had this sort of lovely sort of sepia effect. And I wanted to do something a little bit more with the background. So I just really liked it. And you can see the skin tones, the skin there. It was just so nice to draw. And I like to do these things for me. I've got another piece that I've just drawn out, another piece for me. I like to do these pieces for me to push myself, but also to keep the love of the drawing. For me, it's so important to do that. So that's that one. I don't know whether I shared this one either, but this was the little corgi that I did as a tutorial. So that again is on like a little quarter sheet of Pastel Mat. This one took me sort of like 4.5 hours. This one took me, I don't know how long that took me, probably about 70 hours, something like that, I don't know. This one took 4.5. So it's sort of relatively loose. It was more about just a quick tutorial, just to sort of, you could do in a day if you wanted to. So enjoyed doing that one. I've then got this one, which isn't finished yet. This was an art club piece, and this has caused such a stir and people wanting to draw statues. I can't tell you. Everyone's like, oh my goodness, I need to draw a statue now. So this was an art club piece that we did on Pastel Mat. So this is the Pastel Mat sheet, not the board. It's okay. It has got a little bit of tooth on it, but it's, it's fine. And this was just done. The brief was choose whatever surface you want and choose one pencil. And that's the brief, and that's what we did. So I chose Pastel Mat because it's my favourite, and I chose Caput Mortem Violet as the pencil of my choice. And yeah, so we did that. And you can see actually the grain. I started to have a bit of a play around with cotton bud in here, which I didn't like. But you can see actually the grain works really well for this kind of a piece. And the renditions of this that the igniters have been doing are amazing. They're absolutely amazing. And like I say, they're like, I'm now seeing these statues popping up and all of this. It's just fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant. So that's kind of created a bit of a craze. And then my latest piece, which is, I'll show you the line art. So this is the line art for my latest tutorial. I wanted to keep it relatively simple. So actually we didn't really need to put any of the hair or anything like that in. I want to just keep it nice and simple, so there were just a few lines to go by. So that was the line art, and what I've been asked to do a lot is smooth skin on drafting film. Oh gosh, and when anybody says, can you draw a person on drafting film, I kind of die a little bit inside. There are some artists who are absolutely incredible at drawing smooth stuff on drafting film. I don't think I'm one of those artists, or at least it's not something that I particularly enjoy. I think I've done quite a good job with the thing that I've done, but to do that, I've found that using a very soft pencil is the best bet, because you can kind of smudge it. And I learned an awful lot from this next piece, because I was trying to smudge it and kind of blend stuff. And then I was like, do you know what? I'm not sure this is really working. So I went with a different tack, and I'll talk you through that. But that's the line art. I then had a bit, you know me, I don't swatch, but I did have a little bit of a play. I'll show you, because this is on drafting film. I'll show it on the back of the thing. I did have a little bit of a play with the greys that I was going to use. And I decided I was going to use Prismacolor, because they are, they're very soft, and they actually work really, really well on drafting film. They're kind of that sort of sticky, you know, when you kind of lay them down and you kind of get that comes back up. And I know that they do sort of smudge a little bit, and that you can kind of blend them a little bit on the film. So I decided to use those, and I decided to use just warm greys. I did edit the photo slightly. I used a photograph from a fantastic photographer, Wendy Corner-Kay. Oh, I can't remember her last name, but it basically Wen Photos, and it's a black and white photo, and I just warmed it up a little bit in Photoshop, and this is the result. So that's on drafting film. You can see that's the back. I actually went in on the back afterwards and kind of darkened some bits up, but that is the result, which I'm really, really, really happy with. And basically what I did, I don't know whether you can see up here, I started to kind of try and blend. Can you see that? Kind of blend it, and it kind of went a bit weird, quite shiny. And I was like, I'm not sure that I really like this, to be honest. So then what I did was I kind of changed my technique a little bit. And in the skin area here, I actually started to just put single pencil strokes. Normally I'm like, blah, 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 round and round, you know, round and round is my go-to technique for skin. And it wasn't working on this because I was getting too much kind of texture in it. So I just started to put single pencil strokes in, very softly, really, really, really lightly. And the best pencil I found for this was the Prisma Warm Grey 70%. And Prisma Warm Grey 90%. They're really, really dark pencils. And I found those were the best ones, very, very light pressure, just single lines going in. And then over the top of that, so I'd put one layer in, and then over the top, I'd go in with the darker one, the Prisma 90%. And I'd then kind of either do little round circles, or I'd go in the opposite direction. So it's almost like a crosshatch. But it filled in it filled it in beautifully. And then I went at the final layer, was sort of touching up bits and putting the little freckles in. So the little freckles kind of came right at the end. And I think it worked out really, really nicely. Yeah, I think it worked out really nicely. And you know, it's something different, isn't it? If you look at it like that, you can see the shine. This is something that I get all of the time. Can you see the shine that's coming on there? And people will go, oh, I can see the shine. It's shining. And I'm like, are you holding it on an angle? And I'm like, yes, I'm kind of doing this and I'm looking for the shine. I'm like, well, don't. Just look at it straight on. And it doesn't shine. So do that and don't look at it on an angle. Anyway, so this was a really exciting one. So I'm just needing to edit all of the videos now for this, and this will be up in the video hub for everybody to do. I think there's now a world shortage from everybody for the warm grey Prismas. I had a message last night. Do you know you've caused world shortage in Prismas? And I was like, I'm so sorry. Everybody's trying to buy out the warm grey Prismas, which I think is hilarious. Anyway, so books. So like I was saying, I love my books. So this is the one of the books that I'm reading at the minute. It's called The Book You Were Born to Write. That's probably back to front. And it's by somebody called Kelly Notaris. And it's, I think she's one of the editors of Hay House. And basically it's a book that tells you how to write a book. And I had a coaching session this month with the amazing Susie Pearl, who's my sort of spiritual coach. And I just had this big sort of feeling during the session, because, you know, as some of you know, I have been sort of writing or attempting to write a book. And I've got sort of 3 chapters done, 3 chapters that are like 7,000 words each. So they're quite lengthy, and there's some really amazing information in there. And then I kind of stopped and I was like, oh, you know, am I procrastinating? And I was like, the thing is, I'm not really procrastinating. It's actually strategic procrastination. It's there in my head and mulling over it because I'm still kind of not really sure about what I want to put out. Anyway, I've now decided what I want to put out. And I'm really, really excited about it. And it's going to be, to find somewhere to put this book now, it's going to be 2026. I'll be releasing my book. That will be 10 years that I have been creative again. So 2026 is 10 years since I started drawing again. And I'm just really excited about it, to bring my book out, you know, and kind of experiences and all of that kind of stuff in there. And I'm just really, really excited about it. So that's why I've bought this book. And then of course, Susie's helping me to do, you know, all of the stuff with books as well, because of course she's an author. And then, so these 3 books here have had just the most huge impact on me. I'll tell you. So I've been told about this book for ages, and I've only just got round to getting it, and I've just finished reading it, and it's this one. So it's 10x is easier than 2x, and it's by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And I've got the audiobook, so I've been listening to the audiobook, and I have to say, Dr. Benjamin Hardy narrates the audiobook, and he hasn't got the best voice for narrating. However, the information is so fantastic that it doesn't really matter. And it basically goes through, well, it's achieve more by doing less, basically. And there's so much in this book that is making me rethink areas of my life, areas of the business. I keep on going, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And I was saying to somebody the other day that this book has got into my crevices. All of the crevices that I've got it's got in there. And it's kind of filling everything up. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this has got, you know, great books have huge impact. And I think it is so important. That's one of the things that I do a lot of, is read great books. And then what I learn from the great books, I put into action. And that for me is a really, really, really important part of being sort of like an entrepreneur, business owner, artist, whatever. Not just sort of, you know, just carrying on doing what I always do, but, you know, learning, becoming better, trying different things, all of that kind of stuff. And that's really important to me. So they talk in this book, they talk about 2 other books. This one I've now started reading, and I'm really excited about this one. This is Who Not How. This is about the people that you have in your life, the people that you have in your team, the people that you bring into your business, that kind of thing. And you know that I'm really passionate about getting help as soon as you can afford to. In fact, as soon as you know, you don't even have to afford to, because if you get help, you can do more of the stuff that you're really good at and make more money anyway. And I'm so passionate about it. I'm so passionate about it. And this is all about not what you need to do in your business, but who needs to do it. So that's a really exciting book. And then this one by the same authors, and they talk about it a lot in the 10x is easier than 2x. This one here, The Gap and the Gain. This book is all about, it's kind of a lot about psychology, and it's a lot of what an awful lot of people have different ideas for, just wrapped up in a different way. And what I'm wanting to do with this book, The Gap and the Gain, is bring this into the art world, and kind of attach it to art development. And I'm really excited about that, because I kind of find that a lot of people are in the gap, and that's why they're not progressing, or their confidence is lacking, or they're always in that sort of lack mindset. And I'm just going to cough. Hang on a sec. Yeah, nobody wanted to hear that. I'm sitting in my dusty studio. That's the problem, and I'm so affected by dust. It's terrible. So basically, if you're in the gap, it's always about kind of thinking you should be doing better than what you are, having not unrealistic goals, but always looking to, well, oh, that should have been like that, or oh yeah, I've done this, but it should have been way better. It should be like this, and almost having an ideal for everything that you should be doing. Not recognizing the amazing development that you've already made, the amazing steps you've already made, and where you've come from. Not recognizing that. Always be sort of, oh yeah, you know, oh yeah, it's good, but you know, it should have been like this, or you know, it should have been like that. And this is very much living in the gap. The gain is where you recognize that maybe things haven't, you know, gone so well. And in fact, really, a really good example of being in the gain, this piece again, you know, this up here, you know, I did use a certain technique, wasn't happy with it, didn't just go, well, cop that up, haven't I? That's rubbish. I was like, okay, so I've done that. It's all right. Well, how can I make it better? And then how can I use a different technique to make it better? This works now. This is great. So I've got a piece here that I've learned loads from, because I have that mentality, that mindset of, you know, making mistakes isn't the end of the world. In fact, making mistakes is really important, because it means that you can get better. You know, I mean, if I hadn't seen that as a mistake, if I'd just gone, oh, this is really rubbish, I can't do this, and scrapped it, then what would have happened? You know, I'd have gone back to Pastel Mat and done it on Pastel Mat, and all the people who wanted it on drafting film would have been like, disappointed. And actually, you know, living in the gain is where things go wrong, but you can learn from them, and you can put, you know, you can put that learning into place, and you can create something even better from something that maybe has gone wrong. And this is something that I'm always talking about anyway within my membership, and something that I want to kind of bring what's in this book, my thoughts around it, into the art development world. Because if you're always feeling a bit blur about stuff, and you're always a little bit negative. I also had a session with my, God, I'm going on now, aren't I? A session with my students this week. Was it this week? What day are we on? Last week. Business drop-in, about being really careful about what you surround yourself with, what you listen to, what you look at. Just be really, really careful, because if you're surrounding yourself with negativity, if if you're finding that the accounts you follow, or, you know, videos you watch, or, you know, I guess, you know, anything that you feed into your head, it is more on that sort of negative side, that is going to be what you become. You have to think of your mind as your own algorithm, and what you put in it, you get more of. So you need to put the really good stuff in there, the positive stuff in there. I'm not kind of talking about being toxically positive. Well, I'm not even sure that's a flipping thing anyway. I'm talking about being very careful about what you feed into your mind. Obviously, sometimes you can't help but feed, rubbish in, but be very conscious about what you choose to fill it with, because it can and does have the most amazing effect. And it's scientifically proven as well. Go back to the reticular activating system, all of that kind of stuff. So just be really, really careful about what you let into your head, because it will have an effect. It can't do anything other than have an effect. And again, that's living in the gap and the gain. I just think it's really, really important. Anyway, I think that's enough from me. Waffling on for too long. Next month, I'm off to San Francisco, which is very exciting. What else is happening next month? Oh, we've got the Coloured Pencil Week, which is really exciting. So, if you haven't already joined the waitlist, do. I can't think. Oh, I've got a lovely drawing that I'm going to start doing. And I've got to think about, my next tutorial is a kangaroo. So I'm excited about that for all our Australian members. So I've got a lovely photograph of a kangaroo that we're going to be doing, which I'm very excited about. So thank you all for listening to my usual waffle, and I'll speak to you all soon. Okay, bye.